what got you interested in this issue? I mean, just as a personal
Yeah,
matter, we deficit hawks. It's just kind of interesting.
yeah.
Why
Why,
choose to become an expert in that of all things?
right? Why would you resign yourself to a life of repeated failures? I say this because I feel like we're constantly in fiscal battles and we lose, 95% of them. And then the ones we win, the victories are often short-lived. I'm thinking of the Budget Control Act, for example, as one recent example. But how I got into fiscal policy is that I initially had an interest in economics because I wanted to understand why some countries are poor and others are rich as a result of a transformative childhood experience I had when my grandfather brought me to southern Italy to meet our family there. My grandfather had been an immigrant from southern Italy to Germany, and I noticed just a stark contrast between our living standards in Germany, where simple things that you could identify, like our roads were paved. There were no feral cats and dogs running around everywhere, and this was the reality that I found in southern Italy. And so, these are the same people. These are my family members. They're just living in a different place, and there's so many, like, their lives turned out so differently. They had such different opportunities, fewer opportunities than we did in Germany. So that's how I got into economics. And then, you know, a solid fiscal foundation is the basis for a strong economy. And if you look historically, the way that countries have upended their strong economies, like Venezuela, for example, it is often a result of governments starting to give out too many entitlements, even when they cannot afford them, and then starting to print money in order to pay for those benefit promises, which will unleash inflation and then ultimately undermine the engine of their economy to actually power and fuel prosperity. And so countries can go very quickly from being relatively prosperous, like Venezuela used to be, and due to bad fiscal policies, end up creating complete chaos and poverty for most of their citizens. So understanding this and wanting to prevent such bleak outcomes in the United States is my main driving force, and that what is reflected in my portfolio. My focus is on avoiding a US debt crisis and avoiding default by inflation, which I see as the most likely outcome unless Congress acts.